Appreciate you clicking on this video. Let me tell you some movie news. Some of the stuff we're going to be getting into here today, guys, is it looks like Marvel is putting their plans forward to start their live-action X-Men movie. We got some kind of sad news, in my opinion, with Godzilla x Kong 3. Deadpool and Wolverine looking to already break records for R-rated movies. Oh, we're going to be getting into that along with so much more. So you guys know the drill. Leave your opinions down below. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and you're going to want to be subscribed. Your boy landed on some juicy details. This weekend, I'm going to be away from my desk celebrating a sibling's graduation from high school, so I will unfortunately be missing this Friday's live stream, but I got 2 videos planned for you this weekend that you're going to want to stay tuned for. I got my hands on the in-detail plot synopsis for Venom 3 and another movie, even better, but I'm going to wait to surprise you guys with that, so stay tuned, but until then, let's just get into this movie news. Kicking things off here, I did want to touch upon this a little bit because the internet was kind of going crazy. Yesterday, we got our first look to Dwayne Johnson in his A24 movie titled The Smashing Machine. So you guys might have heard me talk about this. Dwayne Johnson's trying to get a little bit more serious with his acting career after things didn't exactly work out for him in the DC universe, but he's going to be portraying Mark Kerr, which was a legendary MMA fighter who I'm not very familiar with, so I'm actually curious to see the movie to be told the story. But most people online were just shocked when they looked at this photo, and Dwayne Johnson was pretty unrecognizable. It wasn't just a matter of slapping some hair on that beautiful bald head. No, even the face looks a little off and doesn't exactly quite look like Dwayne Johnson. It's even more interesting to kind of talk about right now because Dwayne Johnson has been in the news a lot lately, not for preferable reasons. He's gotten in a couple of controversies and even one involving him peeing in bottles on movie sets and being consistently late. There's a growing number of people that would just rather not even watch a Dwayne Johnson movie, and so just speaking on his acting career, I am interested to see how this goes for him. I have nothing against the guy, but you gotta admit a lot of his films haven't left the impact that he's wanted. We know there's that meme where it's like he always ends up in a khaki shirt somewhere in the jungle. I don't think that's gonna be possible here. The biggest saving grace I have for this is director Ben Safdie, who also was the co-director on Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. But throwing it off to you guys, one, how do you feel about Dwayne Johnson taking on a serious role? Do you think he has the acting chops for it? And him pulling off a great performance? Getting that shoe aside, some of his controversies as of late. But something else that did happen this week, Monday, the sale for tickets on Deadpool and Wolverine went live. This has to be one of the most anticipated movies post-Endgame era. Feels like there's only been a couple of those so far with No Way Home and now Deadpool and Wolverine. But I think the most interesting aspect when talking about Deadpool and Wolverine is at the end of the day, this is an R-rated movie. So its metrics are a little different and its box office outcome could be very interesting. I mean, I know for myself, although I know I'll probably be lucky enough to get a press screening, you never know. Sometimes the mouse wants to be rude to me for no reason. I still pre-ordered some tickets on opening day, and I had to struggle, man. I had to jump to a couple of different theaters and be like, God, they selling out quick. Finally landed on a theater I liked, but I was like, wow, this is the first time I actually had to panic for tickets in a long time. I don't think I've panicked for tickets like that since Avengers Endgame. Curious if anyone else had that experience, but also now that it's been a couple of days, the numbers are pouring in, and yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine are breaking records. It got to the point where the CEO of AMC, the largest theater chain in the US, came out to say this: many big movies will open in May, June, and July, including Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, opens July 25th. Some 200,000 movie fans have bought their AMC tickets already. This is more day one ticket sales at AMC than for any other R-rated movie ever. And that kind of is the key phrase, R-rated movie. That's where we'll see Deadpool and Wolverine really shine, because I think if you start comparing these metrics to probably other PG-13 comic book movies, might be about the same or not as record-breaking. Still, though, this does make me then go to the most highest-grossing R-rated movies of all time, and it's like a list I rarely check out, so I'm kind of shocked to see there's only ever been one movie that has gotten the billion-dollar mark worldwide, and that's 2019's Joker. Everything aside from that, from Oppenheimer, the first 2 Deadpool movies, even Matrix Reloaded, span from the 700 million to 900 million mark. So the question we really gotta ask ourselves, in this time where some are saying comic book movies are on the decline, people don't care as much, the MCU is falling off, but even just comic book movies aside, there's been a lot of articles about the year 2024 where people are just not even going to the theaters. And that's for all movies, not just comic book movies. I, being a big horror guy, was looking at the metrics for like horror movie releases. And right now, The Strangers, which I was not a fan of, is technically the biggest opening horror movie of 2024, coming in around about $12 million, when this same time last year, we already had movies like Megan, Evil Dead Rise, Scream 6, movies that would be ranging from the $30 to $40 million mark. There is a huge decline in people wanting to go to the theaters lately. So now, kind of having all of this in mind, the decline of comic book movies, is there an interest in the MCU? People themselves just not even wanting to attend films. It's an R-rated movie. With all that kind of in mind, what spot on this ranking from like 1 to 5, it's got to break the top 5, I think, for sure. At least make what the first 2 Deadpool movies did, right? But will it hit the $1 billion mark? Will it get number 2, or will it overtake that number 1 spot? That's what I'm curious to hear from you guys. I think it's coming in at number 3 for sure, but if the movie is actually good and it meets the expectations that fans want, which is, I guess, kind of hard sometimes, but just on the basis that it's a good movie, I'm gonna say it takes number 1. I'm gonna say it. But what about you guys? Do you think it even cracks $1 billion with all these factors? And well, I guess since we're on the Marvel talking train right now, we did just get the announcement that they are gonna be moving forward with Vision Quest. It got reported by Variety here that says Marvel sets Vision series for 2026 with Paul Bettany, Star Trek Picard, executive producer Terry Matalas as showrunner. If you guys don't remember, this is like one of the early shows they teased because it happened right at the end of WandaVision all the way back in 2021. All of us wondering what happened to White Vision, what's he been up to, when will we see him again? And it looks like they've set that for 2026, almost 5 years later. There's not really much details on the show other than the fact that it's set to take place after the events of WandaVision, kind of showing this Vision find his place in the world. I hate to be this Disney Plus hater, okay? But especially even after X-Men 97, I am just kind of soured out on Disney Plus shows. I'm sorry. Like, I'm looking forward to Daredevil Born Again, but every new show that they keep announcing or bringing up attached to the Disney Plus MCU banner, it's hard for me to get excited about, even with Vision Quest. Was I dying to know the answer to this and see what he's been up to all this time? Yeah, but it's gonna be 5 years later. My interest in these Disney Plus shows is already at a low. Add 2 more years to that? Don't even know if I'll even look at it. There was something just really refreshing and nice about something like X-Men 97 that felt disconnected from the MCU, was still, though, a connected universe filled with tons of characters out there, but the stories, man, they hit. And that's just what I think is lacking in these Disney Plus shows. Rarely do they hit. They definitely did with like the Loki series, but I don't know. I'm sure it'll be good, and I'll give it a chance, just like I'm going to give a chance to Agatha, Ironheart, Wonder Man, Vision Quest. But genuinely asking, are you guys on the same boat? Because every time I say this, I think you guys are with me, and then I'll get a ton of comments Chris, such a hater on these Disney Plus shows. Yeah, I want to see Vision Quest, man. And I'm like, damn, I guess it's just me then. Moving us here to talk about Godzilla x Kong 3. Now, it was only just a couple of days ago where we found out Shang-Chi writer Dave Callahan got hired to write the sequel for Godzilla x Kong. That should have been an early red flag for us, but we were all just excited with the fact that Legendary was moving forward with another Godzilla x Kong sequel, something we definitely want to see. But it led to the news that a lot of us were expecting, that director Adam Wingard will not be returning for the sequel, and the third Godzilla vs. Kong movie will instead be directed by somebody new. Now, it is worth saying that Adam Wingard was not fired or let go. Everything is fine between the two parties. They even state in the article that they would love to have Adam Wingard back in other MonsterVerse movies in the future. The main reason the article is citing that he had to leave is because he's about to start filming an A24 action thriller named Onslaught, and that's preparing to shoot this fall, and plus he's also going to be working on the Thundercats movie. It seemed like his schedule was just very busy, and Legendary just wanted him as available as possible to start work on this third Godzilla vs. Kong movie, which he just wasn't able to. But I preface this as saying I think this is sad news, and it's going to be a very subjective opinion, because I know there's probably a bunch of people I'm telling the news to right now that are jumping up and down, excited and happy about this. I'm going to look at both sides, but just starting off on why I'm a little sad, I really liked Adam Wingard's direction for Godzilla vs. Kong, and I feel like we owe the man a big thank you. Some people forget the Monsterverse was dying. It was not making the money they were hoping, and then when they finally got to their big team-up event movie, it happened during the era of the pandemic where it was just not going to make its full potential. Still, though, it did make a ton of money. Enough people enjoyed it, went out to see it, and it was a success. Now cut to Godzilla x Kong, another huge success. The Monsterverse was about to die and end if it were not for Adam Wingard, okay? I'm just gonna say that right now. But he definitely injected new life to it to where now it's living nice and healthy. And well, I honestly didn't mind the cartoonier tone. I loved Godzilla -1, and I was happy we lived in a world where we could get both. Plus, I was always a big fan that Adam Wingard paid a very special attention to King Kong. He made him essentially the main character of those first two Godzilla x Kong movies, and as a big Kong fan, I love that. So to me, it kind of sucks that he's not going to complete his trilogy, do whatever he was maybe planning with Kong, because he was even speaking recently in interviews that the third film, he really wanted it to focus on Godzilla and kind of spotlight the big lizard. However, though, I do completely understand the people that are happy about this, that are jumping up and down and are not going to miss Adam Wingard a lot. I was not lost to the negative reactions to Godzilla x Kong. Many people did not like the more cartoony tone, how outlandish it got. You know, I disagree, but also if the next movie did get even more zany and cartoony than Godzilla x Kong, I might be on that same boat with you guys. So there is a part of me that goes, this is probably for the best. Let's get a different director. Keep the franchise feeling fresh and unique, because that's kind of what happens when you get someone new on it. They throw in their ideas, their passions, and it feels a little different. And hopefully they can maybe scale back the tone a bit to be a little bit more serious. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm sad about this, but at the end of the day, I know this is probably for the best. Adam Wingard's going to continue doing great things, and whoever they get on now will probably do just as of a fun job. But this is where I throw it off to you guys. Who would you like the new director to be, and do you want them to keep the tone Adam Wingard was going with, or do you want them to go back to a little bit more serious? Curious to hear from you guys. And well, speaking about creative heads, we got a report yesterday from Deadline that says X-Men movie at Marvel Studios gains momentum as Michael Leslie comes on as screenwriter. These are finally the first baby steps towards Marvel Studios putting into action their live-action X-Men movie. X-Men has been the talk of the town lately because of X-Men 97, and it's also set an unprecedented high bar for what we want in our live-action X-Men movies. And with that high bar, people are going to be judging this live-action movie a lot more harsher, and I don't know if the direction they're heading in right now is the best one. We'll get into the good and bad about it. For one, we got Michael Leslie, who is our writer, and when you go to his credits, the most notable thing that he's done are movies like Assassin's Creed and the recent Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Now, I wasn't really a fan of the Assassin's Creed movie, but I will tell you, I didn't mind the new Hunger Games film. I don't think it's like amazing or the best one in the series, but I was actually pleasantly surprised enjoying that movie. I wouldn't say there was really, though, anything in that Hunger Games film that made me go, oh, this guy would be great for X-Men, but maybe as a fantastic pitch for the movie. All I can really hope for is that they're really taking the fan appreciation for X-Men 97 and are trying to implement that somehow into live action form. A lot of people went crazy when Cyclops finally got the love he deserved on screen. I know I did as a huge Cyclops fan. It was great to see him not be sidelined or wasted. Also, the balance of all the other mutants in X-Men 97 was really great. Wolverine was usually always the main character in the Fox X-Men movies, which is nice. You know, I love Wolverine, but not letting Wolverine overshadow other characters, I thought really worked. Not to mention the animated action was great. The stories they were telling was just some top level drama. Like, they got some big shoes to fill in, and all we've heard so far about their direction for the X-Men movies is that, one, they're not gonna have like Wolverine as a main focus. We even started to see they might not even focus on a lot of the popular X-Men that they have before, like Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm, and instead will try to highlight other mutants that, you know, didn't get all that much love, and they'd kind of put a little bit of a priority on female X-Men characters. Stuff that I bet could sound triggering for a lot of people, but man, I just gotta believe they saw what X-Men 97 was, and they're like, we're gonna give you that, live action. But we'll see. Either way, although we're getting the baby steps, this baby's got a long time to grow, because the rumor is we're not getting this X-Men movie until the multiverse saga is over, and that means after we get Avengers Secret Wars. And that makes sense with all the things we've been hearing with Secret Wars, that's going to be the soft reboot of the universe. That whatever happens by the end of that movie will be in a new MCU where X-Men mutants have been around since the beginning, and then we'll go forward from there. So honestly, even with this movie starting to get a writer together, ideas, look for a director, earliest we will probably see this movie is 2027, 2028. But I throw it off to you guys. How are you feeling about this writer attached to the X-Men movies, and what do you hope they do? But that is all movie news we currently have going on right now. I want to thank you so much for taking time my day to watch me talk some movie news. Don't be forgetting to subscribe to the channel. Got those 2 videos about plot synopsis I'm going to share with you. You're going to want to stay tuned. But as always, my name's Chris. Take care.